out Nashville. Yeah, you all live in suburbia. I know.
I want to be stereotyped. I want to be classified.
Hey, welcome back to the Drum Rundown. We are here today at the Brooklyn Bowl in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm sitting with Bill Stevenson of Descendents, Black Flag, all. What an absolute honor to sit behind this kit with you, man. Thanks for having us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you for taking time to do this.
When you're approaching these songs, what characteristics are you looking for, or what is your checklist of things that are going to get the job done for a show like tonight?
So what's characteristic here is I use large toms-ish, kind of large toms. I usually just have 2 toms. The rack tom's usually a 14, and I like them on the shallow side, but I'm not fussy about exactly how shallow. And then the same thing with the 18-inch floor tom. I don't like them toms too deep. They seem like they sound weird to me if they're too deep. They start sounding like, I don't know, like a kunga, or I don't know what it is when they're too deep. But so these toms are pretty typical, a 14 and an 18. I brought my snare with me. This is a DW, a metal snare. I tend to use metal snares, but I'm not super fussy about, they make so many millions of kinds of metal snares now. Like at home, I've been practicing with one of those big, heavy bell brass.
Yeah.
DW bell brass snare. That thing weighs seriously weighs 40 pounds. It's crazy. And I like that one. I like this one. See, this isn't as heavy as the other one I have at home. And then I use 4 crashes always, just like this, like what you see, except for if I had set this up, this one would be totally straight. See how it's a little tilted?
So you want that just like the most horizontal plane possible.
For me, it's kind of about the ergonomics of it. I'm pretty strangely ambidextrous.
Okay.
I think for drummers, maybe I'm not that ambidextrous, but for humans, I am. What I mean is, like I eat with my left hand, but I write with my right hand. I kick a ball with my left foot, but I play the bass drum with my right foot.
Okay.
I bat left-handed, but I throw and catch right-handed, and it just goes on like that. So I like to have almost like 2 equal pairs, if you think of it like that. Like here's a set of stuff, and here's a set of stuff.
Okay.
And with the rack tom being kind of these 2 are kind of the medium points or whatever, I don't know. So I could play with a lot of our songs. There's really rapid fire chord changes, so I might play say like play like that's like a chords changing, if you think about like a lot of the older Black Flag songs or something like that. So I have these cymbals kind of everywhere, and they're all fairly similar. These are mostly 19s. I guess if my 20 that I had that lives here broke, so I'm just using another 19 here. But maybe this would go in a more ideal world, it would go 19, 19, 20, 18.
Okay.
This one I'll use mostly they're all mediums, and then this one with the 20 I might use a medium thin. And then the 18 I'll use maybe a medium thin or thin, because sometimes I'll I'll kind of crash ride on it. So I'll go from here. So if the one I'm crash riding on, if it's a little smaller, somehow I like that. So I still use my quick beats probably more than anything else, which I've had those for since the 1800s. But then I also have a pair of A hi-hats too, Zildjian A hi-hats, and those are good too. And then I like them. I like them bright and sizzly, like a bacon sizzle.
Yeah.
I like to work on them when I'm playing them. Well, it'll matter to me. Except if I'm doing a beat, it'll really matter to me whether it's closed, whether it's, or maybe it's like the little tiny amount of it, how much sizzly it is or how much bashy it is. I get kind of caught up in that. Maybe by contrast, a lot of the drummers that come into my studio, my recording studio, the blasting room, a lot of them they'll just lock this thing
all the way down.
That.
Yeah.
And I guess, but see, I don't like that sound because it sounds shitty.
It does sound shitty. Yeah.
But these aren't my hats though. I brought these cymbals, but these aren't my hats. I borrowed these because my Zildjian ones have a little crack in them. The one I'm using now, those are the Zildjian A's, I think, that I had with me. But so they want to keep it closed like that so they can do their double kick drum,
right.
But I don't really like the double kick drum either. I like it if I hear it.
Yeah.
Like if I hear a metal band, I get a kick out of that, but I've never really messed with that so much. Yeah.
Well, you're getting a lot done with one foot.
I can usually play whatever eighth notes are required of me, but I can't really play the 16th notes. I can't go,
Yeah.
If I have to play, eighth notes, I can play eighth notes, but not 16ths, really. Some people can, I guess. You see these little 12-year-old kids online going,
yeah.
They could play anything that I've ever played. They could play it with one hand. It's a pretty interesting time, really, for being a musician, because there's just people that just in some garage somewhere that can play 50 times better than you can.
Yeah. It's pretty intimidating. It's like watching all of these little 8-year-olds be able to pull off all of Tony Hawk's tricks, and they're 9.
True.
True.
To
always relate skateboarding to drums, which I do a lot.
I do too, because I like it that it's curvy. I like to play curvy. I think some drummers are kind of like timekeepers. I like it to be curvy. I'll play. I like it to be a little more swervy, like slalomy, like on a wave.
Yeah.
I'm a shitty surfer, but I like being out on the waves, and I like, even if I'm just body surfing, because usually I fall off if I'm on the surfboard.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of your push-pull is like, skateboarding on a pump track, right? Just like the up and down kind of flow of it. You've mentioned before that a lot of your inspiration early on in your career was actually surf and more of that kind of like pop sound that was kind of happening on the West Coast when you guys were coming up, in 81, 82 when you were first making music. So I feel like I still hear a lot of that surf influence, just even in the beat that you laid down there. That would be like a perfect Dick Dale kind of beat.
Well,
or
I
something
got
like
it
that.
secondhand though. I liked, when I was a little kid, I liked the Beach Boys and the Beatles, but I didn't get that surf beat from there. I got it from this band called The Last. and he had that certain way of doing that surf beat, which I basically do it how he did it, which is like a normal surf beat would just be you know, but with the way the last would do it, he would do it like that's a really different thing, you know. That has, I think of it as having a three pulse. So I think of it as having like a kind of a Latin pulse. So you got room dum dum, room dum dum, room dum dum. Kind of like threes, sort of, compared to the surf beat is.
Yeah. Well, there's inherently more dynamics in it with that kind of accenting those notes, and kind of it gives a lot more dynamic range in the part.
Yeah, but I got it from that band, The Last, which were a big influence on the Descendents when we were first starting out. Yeah.
And you were influential in so many punk bands after, you know, between the Descendents stuff, Milo Goes to College, and then your work in Black Flag. Me growing up as a punk, your records were kind of like the ones that you listened to that were like the prototype for what we were trying to pull off at that time. When you were kind of at ground zero for punk rock and kind of setting that, what were your main inspirations outside of a band like The Last?
Well, there was just really three. It was pretty narrow for me. Three main ones, and then a few other ones. John McCarthy from the band the Alley Cats. I know there's a few bands called Alley Cats, but I mean like the punk rock one. If you look at flyers from the Whiskey or whatever, you know, they're always headlining over the other punk bands. They were really big for like just a minute. But from him, he was really getting this that I call it the Batman thing, like that we'll use like a my do 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 do, like that Batman thing, and he'd be like you know, or he'd be, you know, that sort of stuff, with like the palm muted guitar, that stuff. We really got that from the Alley Cats. And then from Black Flag, I mean, Robo was my all-time kind of inspiration. And this thing we just did a minute ago, this is from Robo. See, if I played Jealous again, you know, I would play it here. So that's from Robo, and what that's it's like a barrage of cymbal accents, but with these sets of three hi-hats in between, which I guess he's Colombian, right? So I think maybe he comes by those sets of threes naturally. Like I think cumbia kind of goes like that. So see, he's done. Sets of threes, but with the accents, you know, like, yeah. Well, I kind of, So I got that from Robo, and I also the way him and then Charlie from the Plugs, the band the Plugs, would use their toms, like that first Plugs song. You know, what does he say? You know, that sort of business. I'm not sure if it goes. Does it go that way? Can't remember, but anyway, that first song on the Plugs album, and then Robo would do that too, like using like kind of using all the toms like that, like on Police Story on the chorus, Robo would go. So that's using that tom, but you know, stand it, fight anymore, we can't win. But then it goes to the three hi-hats at the end. It refrains to the three hi-hats. So And though that's really like all that stuff I just said, that's the DNA of all my playing.
Yeah.
And then you could throw in some of Don Bull's with the Germs, with all those upbeats he'd be talking about. All those upbeat kick drums, you know. And with he would do the spastic drum fills. He'd be playing like. Kind of crazy spastic stuff, which I picked up on that right away. I love that. Oh, and then you got, you know, DJ Bonebreak from X. Just he could play anything, and he brought all those double snares into like. Oh, that's what he'd be talking about. I don't know, he brought a whole thing into all that, and then those are just all punk band drummers. I'd say those are the ones that really, like, I took what they were doing and I incorporated into what I'm doing. But then when you talk about influences, sometimes that could be more abstract. It's not like, hey, I'm not doing what that person does, but I'm influenced by them. Like maybe Bill Ward from Black Sabbath, who is kind of my other all-time favorite drummer. I like just the way he kind of, to me, like, okay, I had developed this nickname called the Drum Ogre. Yeah. Because, and obviously this was before that Shrek thing or whatever that was, but this magazine in Britain, you know, they referred to me. It was a very bad review of Black Flag, and they called Henry sweating something. And they called me when it got to me, it just said Drum Ogre, Bill Stevenson.
Wow.
And I took that as like a nickname because I thought they were trying to criticize me. But I think that's great because I always thought of Bill Ward as like a drum ogre. He would just be like, you know, like on War Pigs, he'd just go, just really like, really like kind of like a guy that just first got handed drumsticks and just started playing.
We always said caveman.
Even though he had a, you know, broad musical background. I mean, he could play swing or he could play whatever. But when he would attack War Pigs and Iron Man and those songs, like at the end of Iron Man, where he's going, like that thing, that thing, I call that like the Uzi tom or AK-47 tom. I mean, I got that from Bill Ward. They know. That business, I got that from Bill Ward. You know, so there's been plenty of great people out there to be inspired by.
Yeah, well, he definitely plays curvy, like you said. There was there's a swing and there's a curve in what he does.
He and I probably share that. I don't think either of us could keep time to save our lives, you know. But I think we both know how to get in there and get some, you know, get some of it.
Well, it's definitely, when you're just approaching it, there's a different feel, and I love how all of your influences marry together to become something new and then inspire so many other things, because there's so many offshoots of bands of Descendents and Black Flag, and they both go two different ways.
Don't you hate it when you do this stuff? Because as soon as I'm probably go get some food after this, and I'll be sitting down and going, oh, why didn't you mention blah blah? Because you never can think of them all on the spot.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, one of the last things we didn't get to speak about is your ProMark sticks. Talk to me about what you got here.
My friend Tony from Hagfish, he tried to show me how to
do the thing.
Do it. And then somebody else showed me a cheaty way, but I can't do either of it. It's pretty ridiculous. So these sticks, they've changed the name, I think, 4 times on this stick, but it's not, I mean, I'm cool with anything that's kind of a medium heavy stick. What would you call that? I don't know, smaller than a 2B, bigger than a 5B? Is that a thing?
That's kind of like you're shooting a gap actually in there. And these are called these are the Forward 747s.
Yeah, this exact stick has changed names. For a while, it was just a big series of numbers, I had to save the numbers and then type it into the ProMark website, you know, because I don't know what it's like. But yeah, it's like, yeah, right now these are called Forward 747.
And what are you looking for? Is it a specific diameter, a specific length?
It's funny because I've used all kinds of sticks. I've used these. You see these Regal 3S.
Okay.
They were big, but the wood was soft, so they would break. I feel like this stick is the least. It breaks the least, but it still has. Because I know they make sticks out of very hard materials now, either extremely dense wood or different metal alloys or whatever, all that. I know that that's all out there, but I feel like I want some give. I like a little bit of give. And, you know, where you get a little bit of give, I think, is part of the sound for me. That's why I usually don't use those real thick rims, you know, the die cast thick rims, because they don't give, you know, it's like, ah. And so with these sticks, you know, they give just enough, but they don't break very often. When they do break, oh, I don't have any broken ones, so I can't. But my ideal thing is that I just beaver chew them. I beaver chew them right down there, and I have hundreds of them, because one of my buddies is gonna make a table out of them all. He's gonna like put them in epoxy, so you're looking at all the broken sticks as the tabletop. But they're all, ideally, they're just all right there, like a clean beaver chew right through there. Yeah, because that tells you, you know, the accuracy. You know, just like right there, like right on that spot.
Yeah, there's no movement at all from your hit point. Like, it's pretty much dead center, and you haven't touched the drum barely anywhere else.
I like that. I don't like it when I splinter them off. I splintered one off the other day. I must have caught the cymbal wrong.
Yeah.
And so it was more of a whittling, not beaver chew, but whittling. Whittling on the porch, you know. Yeah.
It's got to be the beaver chew.
But I have used all kinds of different size sticks. I've been on these for, I'd say, 20, 25 years now. They work pretty well for me.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm excited to see you play some songs tonight and honor this Descendents music. One of the last things I wanted to speak with you about was your last release that you put out in 2021 during the pandemic times, and you got back to some original songs that were like original Descendants songs that you said you had got tired of by the time you recorded and released even the first Fat EP. What's it been like going back to some of the earliest stuff that you ever wrote, reapproaching that? Did you find any sort of inspiration from a younger drum ogre kind of buried in those old songs?
We took pretty great effort to record those in 2002, to record them how they like really were in 78, 79. So we didn't mess around with them too much. That's pretty much how we were playing them. And so that was me kind of finding myself, I suppose. There's a lot of that, you know, that was kind of like one of the main first Descendents beats. Like the first 10 Descendents songs, you know, 8 of them had that beat. And it was fun. It was fun for me and Tony just to kind of remember all that stuff. And, you know, since Frank's no longer with us, I also felt like for me, it turned into a little bit of a time to just kind of spend some psychic time with Frank, you know, who was one of my best friends ever I've had of my life, you know. Yeah, it brought back tons of good memories. Like I remember the first time we played together. You know, I remember what songs we played the first time we played together. You know, we would learn, each time we'd get together on the weekend, we'd learn 2 or 3 more new songs, because Frank had a ton of them already. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun doing that. It kind of needed to be done because we had all those songs, and then we sort of just got sick of them and kept writing songs. But I mean, so as far as it goes, like Statue of Liberty and Parents, those are part of the original batch. But they somehow made it all the way on to Milo Goes to College, whereas a lot of the other ones never made it that far. That we just dropped them. Global Probing too, which is on the bonus fat. That's part of the original batch of songs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a huge treat that those got to see the light of day, and then we got to experience some of the earliest stuff. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, it was fun. Definitely fun. I'm suspicious of prequels. I think, well, because I think when movies and they go, well, there's actually these 3 other movies before the movie. I'm like, no, you're just trying to make money.
Yeah.
But those Night the Walnut songs, those are really, for real, our very first songs.
Yeah.
They really are.
I hold a lot of trauma about a certain set of prequels that just absolutely almost ruined the original trilogy for me. So I relate to that.
So these were our first songs, like Take 'Em or Leave 'Em, like 'em or Hate 'Em. Those are our first songs. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us today and talking about all of the stuff from the past and all the stuff up till now, and giving us a run around what you're playing.
Okay. Well, I mean, I hope I did well with this. I'm someone who gets kind of nervous with cameras and all that.
Yeah.
So I hope I've served the purpose.
Oh, you did great. This is awesome. Yeah, it's very much a pleasure to sit down with you and speak to the legend, Bill Stevenson of Descendents and Black Flag and all. This is a show not as cool as Bill, called the Drum Rundown. We will see you all on the next one.
I know I'm the first person that's ever done
Dude,
that.
no rim shot ever. Yeah, that was awesome.